I work in a bank and a customer came in with a pile of 10 naira notes numbered consecutively from EC 0177257 to EC 0177279. What is the best way to know the total value to save me counting the notes, and what is the total value? Today we're going to be talking about the laws of indices, or the rules of indices. When you're multiplying two same base numbers, you can see the base numbers are the big numbers here. When you're multiplying the same base numbers, you add the powers. The powers 3 add 4 will give you 7. So that's the first rule. So let's go to the second example. We have 3 squared times 3 to the power negative 3. Because you're multiplying same base numbers, the big numbers are same, you add only the powers, or we call it the indices. The two are indices, one is index. Sometimes we call it exponents as well, so you add the exponents. Now, 2 add negative 3 is the same thing as 2 minus 3. So your answer will be 3 to the power negative 1. Because 2 take away 3 is negative 1. Now this is correct, however, you could also want to write it as a fraction. So 3 to the power negative 1 is the same thing as 1 over 3. Another example we could have is this one. In as much as you have the same base numbers, you keep that base numbers, and because you're multiplying, you add the indices. So you have 3 add 5 add 2, which is 10, so your final answer will be 3 to the power 10. We're going to go on to the second rule. The second rule is dividing same base numbers. You have to take away the indices, or the powers, or the exponents. In this case, 3 take away 4 is negative 1, so you have your final answer as 2 to the power negative 1. If you want to go to another rule, which is the third rule. Now, 3 cubed to the power 5 is the same thing as 3 cubed times 3 cubed times 3 cubed times 3 cubed times 3 cubed. So 3 cubed to the power 5. Now, if you look at the times, all these base numbers are the same, so you keep that base numbers. And because you're multiplying, you add the powers, which gives 15. Now, you don't need to go through this long process. In as much as you've got a bracket there, all you've got to do is you do 3 cubed times that 5 to get 3 to the power 15. So it's basically the same thing as the long process here. But just remember the bracket is a times, so you just do just 3 times 5. But if you're multiplying it all out, you add the powers, as in this case here. So we do another example here. Of course, this is going to be 6 to the power 16 because 8 times 2 here is 16. Another last example we can have here is 2 cubed to the power negative 4 is the same thing as 2 cubed times negative 4 on top of the power. And so you do 3 times negative 4 and you get 2 to the power negative 12. So these are all correct. If we look at this last example, you can clearly see we're multiplying same base numbers. So if we're multiplying same base numbers, we keep that base number, as in the big number. And because we're multiplying, we add only the power. So negative 4 add negative 3 is the same thing as negative 4 minus 3. So your final answer will be 6 to the power negative 7. And 6 to the power negative 7 is the same thing as 1 over 6 to the power 7. Remember, the negative power is the reciprocal of the positive power of same base number. So hopefully this will help us to be able to do or remember rules of indices. We can do one last example, something like, it doesn't have to be all numbers, it could be letters, I could do x to the power 4 times x to the power maybe 5, and then if I say divide that by x to the power 2, for example, this top one will give me x to the power 9, and I divide that by x to the power 2. Now because it's divide, I take away the powers. So my final answer will be x to the power 9 take away 2, and your final answer becomes x to the power 7. So it doesn't have to be numbers, it could be letters. You apply the rules of indices to both if the base letters or the base numbers are the same. So you can see x is the same thing as x there, so you keep the x as well. Hopefully this will help you to be able to do questions on rules of indices. Bye bye.